Traditionally, the second flash is to do this exact job. You've got a main flash lighting Chloe, a second flash just putting a bit of light on her hair. A hair light is a great use for a second flash, but today we're going to be breaking that rule by doing 3 creative uses for a second flash, and the last one could surprise you, so stick around for that. But for now, let's rewind and break this down. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe's going to be the model for this photo session, and we're going to begin with the actual lights because obviously I need 2 of them, and today I'm using speedlights because they are reasonably low cost, but also they're really lightweight and portable, which is ideal if you're trying to move them into unusual positions. Up here, as my key light, I've got a Flashpoint Zoom X, which is a round-headed speedlight, and this is the Flashpoint Zoom 3, which is a rectangular one. Now, why have I chosen these 2 in this order? Well, keep watching and you'll realize why this is a really good choice as your second light. Now, traditionally, what you do with this light, if you have a nice key light set up, is you put it back here, set it up as a hair light, and it will make a really nice light on Chloe's hair, separating her out from the background, and so on. But not today. Today we're going to go for different options, and the first one is to light the background in a more creative way. I could put the light back here and just shine it straight onto the background, but it's not particularly creative. So to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm not going to light the background directly behind Chloe, but I'm going to light the background from the edge. So let's get this light elevated up and angled slightly down, and now I should have a light that beams across in a more interesting way. Now, I've gone with a shallow depth of field. I'm using high-speed sync, which would mean that the creases that this light is definitely going to show aren't going to show up in the picture. At least that's the idea. Let's see how it works. So we still have that vignette effect, but now we have some direction to the light. There are 2 ways we can modify this simple setup, and the first way is to use the fact I'm using a C-stand and a grip arm. So I can change the position of this, something like that, and have it elevated up in the air and brought in a little bit. I think that should still be out of my picture. And now the beam of light is going to come a little bit more vertical, which is kind of nice. And the other way is I can change the zoom of the speedlight. Now, what that means is it'll change the spread of the light. At the moment, it's set to its widest 24 millimeters, but from the remote control right here, I can actually change that all the way up to 200 millimeters and get this. And this opens up a whole bunch of creative options. So I think we should explore that a little bit. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, let's move the light and take a few photos like this. There's a subtle advantage to using the speedlight with the rectangular shaped head here, and it's down to its maximum zoom because it is slightly longer than the round head equivalent. For the second look with a second light, I've actually got things pretty much similar. The key light is still in the same place. Chloe is still in the same place, but the second light is, well, back here, but it's grown and is now filling a 42-inch softbox. Now, if you're thinking 42-inch softbox, small speedlight, they don't go together. Well, it's all about your expectations of illumination. This is pretty close to Chloe. It doesn't have to produce that much light. It's absolutely fine. I've set it so it should produce a nice clean white background, which is already a pretty good use for a second light. But to be even more creative, I'm actually going to do this. So if I take off the outer diffuser, I've already removed the inner diffuser, and now we can actually take the same picture again, but it's going to look very different. So I haven't changed the power of the backlight, but I'm not going to worry about that because I've got one more thing I want to change. And that is to add a colored gel to the light. Now, there's a few things that I've done to make this work really well. The first one is I've made sure that I can stick this gel so it completely covers the flash. But before I do that, I've actually used the little pull-out diffusing panel on the rectangular head, something you don't get on the round head speedlights, which should give me a much broader spread of light and give some color around the edges of this, well, softbox without a softbox front. There is one thing that I've deliberately missed out on this picture, and if you can see what it is, let me know in the comments down below before I tell you, because the answer is these. I've put tiles on top of the tabletop for a reason. The reason is in the next setup, which is coming as soon as we've taken a few pictures like this. So Chloe, are you ready? Let's take a few pictures. Here we go. I'm using a cyan colored gel because it fits in with the styling of this whole setup. And if you want to find out exactly which gels I'm using, I'll leave a gear link in the video description that will take you back to Adorama. But whatever gel you use, the art here is to make sure that it really covers that light completely. The third use for our second light is perhaps the one that is least obvious, but if you get your head around what I'm going to be doing with this light, it is the most important light usage you can have, because so many things I could do with my second light. In this scene, what would you suggest? Would you suggest I use it as a hair light? Bring it down here, have some light on Chloe's hair, use it as a streak of light in the background. That actually could work quite nicely. I'm actually going to use this as a practical light. A practical light is a light that you actually see in the scene and it adds light into that scene. So it's going to go back here behind the terrarium from my camera's point of view, and I'm going to light this whole thing, make it glow. Now let me show you what it looks like before that light is actually turned on. So if I take a picture with that second light turned off, this is what I'm seeing. It's perfectly okay, nothing wrong with this whatsoever, but the second I turn that light on, and it doesn't have to be particularly bright, in fact it's on 1/64th power, it adds a little glow into that terrarium through the fabric and is reflected in the tiles. And that is why the tiles are in here. And that's really all there is to a secondary light. It's going to be practical, it's going to be in the scene, and I think we should take a few photos like this. So Chloe, are you ready? Here we go. If practical lighting is something you enjoy, then speedlights are a great tool for the job, simply because they're just so small and easy to hide. That means they're less likely to appear in your pictures, and that saves you time in post-processing, and surely that's a good thing. Speedlights are a really great way to get into two-flash photography because they're relatively cheap and because they're really easy to move around. And with that in mind, which of the three looks did you enjoy the most? Let me know in the comments down below. Whilst you're down there, give this video a thumbs up, check out the gear links that will take you back to Adorama, and of course, click on that subscribe button. And if you want more inspiration for alternative ways of using a second flash, why not check out this video where I cover 3 more ways of using a second flash, and once again it features the amazing Chloe, so worth watching just for that. I'm Gavin Hoey, thanks for watching.